A young couple came to me and said, "We're very much in love. Will you do the wedding for us?" I said, "You want to get married?" They said, "Yes." I said, "Why?" They said, "Because we're in love." I said, "No, so good enough. If you're already in love, it's too late for marriage. Because you're marrying for love, which you already have. So what are you getting married for?"
Oh, I'm confused.
I am too.
I'm rethinking my whole life.
We're going to get an answer to that question. Manis Friedman's an author, counselor, and philosopher. He has a unique ability to apply the wisdom of the Torah to contemporary times. He's also YouTube's most popular rabbi.
His most recent book is The Joy of Intimacy, a soulful guide to love, sexuality, and marriage. And he joins us this morning. Good morning, Rabbi.
Good morning. How are you?
Good to have you with us. Why don't we finish that sermon you just started? Because now I'm very confused. If I didn't marry for love, what should I be marrying for?
That wasn't a sermon. That was a comedy routine.
Either way, you got our attention. So,
Yeah.
Right. It works.
yeah, so you shouldn't marry for love?
Why, should you marry for money? No. That's insulting.
Yeah.
A man says to a woman, "I want to marry you for your money." He is saying, "Can I please just have the money?" Does everything have to be so complicated?
Right.
So if I have to marry you to get the money, okay, I'll marry you.
Yeah.
But really, I'm marrying the money. Now, very sadly and shockingly, it's exactly the same thing is true with love. I am marrying for love. Does the rest of you have to come along?
So yeah, you
I
say
don't need the rest of you.
Yeah.
So just the love. Keep your opinion to yourself. I don't want to hear about your moods. I don't want to hear about your needs. And don't have a personality. Just have love.
so here we're getting
all-
into there's more give and take than maybe people imagine going into a marriage. And you hear though that people having problems in their marriage, they go to counseling and they come out of it and they say, still can't work it out. What do you tell them that they don't get in traditional counseling?
I tell them that love is not going to keep you together, despite the song. It's respect. You living together in a house without respect, it's going to be abusive. It's inevitable.
If you
You look down at each other, you talk down to each other, it's going to get nasty.
Yeah.
It's not going to be pretty.
Does it have to, so when you're picking a spouse, you should look for someone you respect. You might not be in love with them to start with. That is the most important thing.
Yes, yes. Love comes and goes. It's up one day, it's down the next day. That's the nature of it.
Yeah.
And that's fine. That's the excitement. But the respect has got to be there, or you shouldn't be in the same house.
I think some people have difficulty recognizing what you would describe as a lack of respect. And I think you kind of nail it with this one, which is this need to be right. I think that cuts both ways for men and women. And somehow we fail to recognize that.
I talk to a couple, marriage counseling, and they accuse each other of all sorts of horrible things. And then they turn to me and say, "So who's right?" So you see, there's the problem.
Yeah.
You want to be right or you want to be married. You can't have both.
Why do you think people are so hesitant to compromise on things of that nature? And some of it is very trivial.
Yes, and it shouldn't feel like a compromise. It should never feel like a compromise. There should be no compromise in marriage, and there certainly shouldn't be any sacrifice. If you feel like your life is a sacrifice, it's not going to work. So here's a good example of respect. I never heard my father call my mother from a different room. You want to talk to your wife, go to where she is and speak to her, which is what you would do if you had any respect. But to call, like summoning your dog, like, "Get over here."
Yeah.
What kind of language is that?
Boy, the little things. You don't
It's
even
the
think
little
about that.
things.
You also say that modesty is important to maintaining a marriage. How so?
Well, because modesty is important for maintaining respect. If you lower your standards, if you if you put aside all dignity and all self-respect, it makes it very hard for your spouse to respect you. So you really have to maintain a higher standard at home than in the street. You know, every father says to his daughter, hey, you can't go out dressed like that. Right?
Yeah.
No, if you dress like that, go out. So people in the street will think you're crazy. Who cares? But in the house, not in the house.
I see.
Not where we need to live with each other and respect each other. So we got it really backwards.
So for people who are looking for the perfect spouse, or they want to find love, what advice do you tell them to find someone they respect? Where do they go to find their spouse?
Well, to go to the extreme, if you're looking for love, go home to your mother. You don't need love. You need a relationship you can love. You're not lovesick. You're not deprived. And if you are, marriage isn't going to fix it. You know? Like if your mother didn't love you and doesn't love you, that's a different story. And that marriage is not going to patch that up. So you're not looking for love. You're looking to bond with another human being because it's terrible to be alone. And when I heard from couples who were happily married, and you speak to them individually, and they'll tell you that they have no complaints to their marriage, but they feel like they're alone in the world. And that's terrible. Aloneness leads to all sorts of illnesses.
But we need to...
It destroys your immune system. And what takes away that feeling of aloneness? Remember that song, Piano Man?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Billy Joel.
They're sharing a drink they call loneliness,
Yeah.
but
But it's better than drinking alone. Oh,
Yeah.
so deep.
We need to have you on retainer.
I gotcha. I'm with you.
For more from Rabbi Manis Friedman, check out social media and itsgoodtoknow.org. Rabbi, thank you for joining us this morning.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Boy,